Can you hear me now? Holy shit. Hello? Oh my God. Can you hear me now? Please tell me you can hear me now. Hello? Okay. Wow. We're real professionals over here. Nope, no audio. It looks like I have audio. My thing's kind of bouncing there. Holy crap. Okay, so we're already starting out a shit show. Okay, if you missed what I was saying that tonight Gerry Conway is supposed to be here. I'm waiting for him to show up. Hopefully, he'll be here shortly. Um, yeah, we're going to cover some things that have been on my mind, some things in the news. I know this is a comedy channel, but lately my live streams have been a little depressing. And I figured that we'll leave the depressing stuff for the live streams and do the fun stuff on the videos and whatnot. So again, this is just stuff that's been on my mind. I'm sure it's been on your mind too. What's going on in the country and the world? Um, Especially there's for me, I like to know. Like I want to be able to plan and think of, where is things going to be a year from now, 2 years, 5 years from now. I don't like a lot of uncertainty. I mean, obviously, you're going to have a lot of uncertainty in life in general, but with the way the world's going, there's a ton of uncertainty, and I don't particularly care for so much uncertainty in life. So I saw this video, a couple videos recently that's been kind of it makes me go, okay, I can I'm wrapping my head around this, and it's a little more even though they're theories, um I can wrap my head around it as to where it's kind of like one of these things where when you go on a road trip and you're like, where are we almost there yet? Are we there now? When are we going to get there? Um, I know Pop always kind of ends his shows with things are going to kick off. Things are looking like crap. Things are going to get bad. Well, it's kind of like, okay, I understand that, and I understand that we're going down some rough times right now, and we're not even really at the beginning. But I'd like to know where we're at on this ride, um, and when potentially things can happen. So any kind of information that can play into that, so that I can kind of gauge where we're at and see if I'm prepared enough. Uh, how much time before things potentially get bad? In my opinion, I believe things are going to get really bad with the economy, ramping up into the 2024 election. And things with the 2024 election can get really dicey, I believe. And so I watched this video recently, and it has to do with the fourth turning. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about this. Maybe you've watched videos about it. Maybe you've read the books where the theories were presented. So there was a recent video by this guy. He's Van Neistat. And it was the Neistat brothers, and they used to have a show on HBO. And now he does this YouTube videos called The Spirited Man. And, look, he leans left for sure. But, sometimes it's good to get out of your bubbles and, not live in a single sphere of, you know, only right wing or conservative or whatever theories. And it's good to listen to the other side of what they're talking about. He doesn't lean that far left, but he definitely has a left lean. So there was this recent video he did where he's talking about basically where we're at in the fourth turning. And the way he presented it was very logical and very laid out in like a grid and a pattern. And so I wanted to share it with you, and I wanted to discuss it with Gerry, who still isn't here yet. Let me just check my email. And I mean, he said he was going to be here. And let me make sure he didn't send me a cancellation or something. Last I checked, he was coming. No, I don't see any cancellation. So I guess we'll proceed without him for the time being. And I guess I'll put in Nate and some other guys if you want to come in. I'm going to put it in the Gilded. So let me do that right now. Rhino's Gilded. If you don't belong to Red Pill Rhino and Rhino's Gilded server, then go apply and go join because we have a lot of fun in the backstage. It's kind of like Rhino's Friday shows, but more of it and more just silliness. So I just put that in there. If Nate, you want to jump in, get in here. Sean, you want to jump in if you want. I know you kind of gave me shit the last time. All right, and then yeah, let me play this video before you all bounce. Oh, we got Spy Balloon. Man, you were here like instantly. Were you waiting, Spy Balloon? Were you waiting for me to post that?
Yeah.
Link. So I have limited space though tonight. So because I'm on the stupid StreamYard. So tonight's yeah, I only have room for 6. So
Is this being live? It's recorded right now.
no, I'm running live. So
Okay.
you're not going to throw up like a big black cock or anything like that, are you?
That's it for you.
Please don't.
So what's on the agenda tonight?
Well, if you were listening for the last 10 minutes, I just laid, well, the last more like 8 minutes, because apparently I was muted for the first like 2. I'm going to be discussing some of the stuff as far as the fourth turning, where we are with that, where we're going, and all that stuff. So I basically want to talk about like where we're at in a timeline, and it's based on theories, right? It's not a definitive.
We're going down the shitter. We're going down the shitter.
Yes, definitely. I believe we are. We're already kind of like on the precipice.
Oh no, dude, the toilet already flushed. Like we're just spinning.
Hey, well, yeah, but look, it's good to know where you're at, right? It's not just, hey, let's just go for the ride and spin along, right? It's good to kind of make sure you're on a raft while you go down. So I got this video I want to play, and I took this video that Van Nuys did. I cut it up quite a bit, so go subscribe or watch the full video on his channel, because here it's basically the highlights. It's not the full video. It's like half the video, and I'm not even showing the video. I put pictures in so that they can't get me for copyright and all that kind of good stuff. So
they'll still get you.
Maybe not. We'll see. Hopefully not, because I did basically, it's just you're going to see pictures and hear his voice and whatnot. So again, Nate, if you want to jump in, Sean, if you want to jump in, Spy Balloon, your mic is really shitty though. I gotta say, you need to fix that. I don't know what it is. Are you on like a phone or something?
Okay. Does that work?
It works better. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So here we go. This is the video in question. He
about the midpoint of the fourth turning.
Okay. So he did basically 2 parts. The first part is basically what the fourth turning is about. He did one, I think it was about 2 years ago in the middle of the pandemic. And I think in his mind, that was the culmination. At the time, I believe he believed that the COVID pandemic was the big crisis. And then once we get through the crisis, everything will be fine. But as we know, it's still going on, right? This whole kind of where we're going is still, it hasn't come to a head, right? This was
in my personal what I've seen is that they're trying again to get, to have the lockdowns and what have you again, and it's just not working. And now there's data coming out that if you did have the quote unquote poke and smoke, you have a higher chance of catching it. So it seems like everyone was getting it at the poke and smoke.
Yeah, careful though. Careful where we go with that stuff, because they'll definitely either put me down for.
Oh no, okay, yeah, no.
But yeah, so the poke and smoke, yes, is right. They're trying to, have a reunion tour on that. And
Yeah.
here's Gerry. You're in the chat. Get in here. God damn it. So joining you shortly. Okay. So Gerry's going to be in here in a minute. Okay. So we can play this video and then we'll get Gerry's opinions on this stuff. So basically, where was I at? So yeah, that thing that going on, I've been hearing people who have their kids in school, who the schools are saying, oh, this kid has COVID. Oh, I think we need to wear masks again, blah, blah, blah. So that's coming around. They're going to play this playbook again. We know that. But that's kind of like small potatoes compared to some of the bigger shit that's potentially on the way.
I
So
mean,
again,
I have a prediction. I believe in the next, maybe this year, maybe beginning of next year, we're going to get involved with yellow and blue.
maybe.
We will have 100% boots on ground for yellow and blue.
I hope not. I really don't hope. I hope that we don't go into that. But let's talk about this theory, which seems to play out over and over again, which I think is really fascinating, that humans can you can predict their behavioral cycles can almost be laid out in, the societies, how they play out. And this book only really covers the American experience, but I believe this kind of 80-year cycles have been happening over and over and over again throughout time. And it seems like we're in this cycle right now of stuff that's going to happen. So let me present this. It's about 7 minutes. I think it's very informative. And I might stop it as it goes, or we'll let it play. We'll see. But again, if you want to watch the whole video, go to the Spirited Man, see the Hard Rain series 1 and 2. It's the full video with the videos. And like I said, I cut this up a bit. It's about half the length. If you want to see the full length, go to that channel. Okay, so let's start this out.
About the midpoint of the fourth turning is here. The author maps our crisis in relation to historical fourth turning patterns. The book is called The Fourth Turning is Here: What the Seasons of History Tell Us About How and When This Crisis Will End. And here we have two timelines. The timeline of our previous fourth turning, the World War II crisis, and of our current millennial crisis.
So to interrupt, I believe he's doing it this way because it's the most relatable, right? Because we can relate more closely to the last time this shit happened, right? As opposed to, say Civil War or the Revolutionary War, because people aren't as smart about history anymore. So at least hopefully people have a baseline that they know that at least the last century history. So that's why I believe he's relating it as close to the World War II. So let's continue.
As we fill in these timelines, we get an idea of where we currently are in our crisis and get an idea of what may be coming based on the patterns of our previous history blocks. A fourth turning is preceded by a precursor that occurs towards the end of the previous third turning. The precursor event shows that while our society may be unraveling, we still have the chutzpah to meet a national challenge. The precursor to the World War II crisis was the U.S. involvement in World War I. The country was against it, but once we went in, the country supported it. The precursor to our millennial crisis was the 9/11 attacks and our subsequent involvement in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. According to the book, a precursor briefly foreshadows the mood of the coming crisis era by showing how a society aware of its own weakening civic instincts can still galvanize and rise up to meet a new challenge. A catalyst is an event that marks the beginning of the fourth turning. The catalyst puts up.
So basically, He's saying this is where we started, was about 2008. And they go in 20-year cycles, the first, second, third, and fourth. So the start of the fourth turning, they're claiming in this book, started in 2008.
Us in crisis mode. We see the catalyst coming, but we don't prevent it. When the catalyst arrives, we fall into a mood of pessimism and paralysis. The catalyst that began the World War II crisis era was the 1929 stock market crash. The Great Depression followed. The catalyst that began our crisis was the 2008 financial crisis. During a regeneracy, people start to get pissed off and politically active. People begin to organize themselves into groups. Political groups, racial groups, class groups, ideological groups. Regeneracies generally occur in two phases. During the World War II crisis fourth turning, Regeneracy 1 was the election of FDR in 1932, 9 years before the U.S. entered World War II. FDR said he would wage a war against the Depression as if it were an invading foe. His election and inauguration speech regenerated a sort of team spirit that had been missing from the country during the Roaring Twenties. The Roaring Twenties were a third turning era of increasing individuality. A regeneracy regenerates a sense of community or commonality. A regeneracy regenerates a sense of common mission. But sometimes a regeneracy splits the nation in two. Two teams, each with their own ideas about how to overcome the crisis at hand. Our millennial crisis regeneracy was the 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. Both sides were pissed off about the way things were going in the years after the great financial crisis of 2008. Both sides hated their opposing presidential candidate. Each of the two factions began to regenerate a sense of unity that had unraveled during the highly individualistic days of the booming 90s and early 2000s. It seems as if there is nothing that can unite us. The second regeneracy, the second come-together moment, came during the spring and summer of 1940. Germany took over France, and Germany began bombing Britain. Southern congressmen who hated FDR now agreed with him that the U.S. should prepare for war. This preparation for war began to regenerate the sense of unity that had split because of political disagreements and industry versus labor battles. We have not yet entered our crisis's second regeneracy.
So right there, that's where we're at right now.
I think we have.
Well, I'm not sure. I think we might hit that because we haven't had a come together, right? He's saying that the come together is kind of like this, something bad happens. Well, I'll let it continue. Let's let it continue.
We have not yet experienced our fourth turning's fall of France or Battle of Britain. And obviously, there's no guarantee that we will experience a second regeneracy. But according to the book, fourth turnings unfold in a pattern of events and reactions. And here is how the World War II fourth turning unfolded in relation to these fourth turning patterns. At some point after achieving its final regeneracy, society experiences a consolidation, the moment when all members of the dominant new community understand that they are engaged in an ultimate struggle for survival. While hopes and fears mount, uncertainty subsides, everything rests on this one outcome. After the consolidation, the community unites in maximum collective energy and efficacy. Most people who haven't yet chosen sides must now choose. Leaders redirect every available institution toward a common goal. During the World War II crisis, Our consolidation event was the Japanese attack on our naval fleet at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. The United States declared war on Japan the next day. 3 days later, the United States declared war on Germany. All hands on deck and all in. We have not yet experienced our consolidation. We have not yet experienced this crisis's Pearl Harbor moment. And to be clear, it's not guaranteed that we will experience a Pearl Harbor event. This book presents us with a historical theory, not math.
So that's what I took from it. That's the rest of it is basically, look, the climax, right, where things come to a head as far as with World War II. There was the fall of Germany and the bombing of Japan, and then the resolution was the basically that America became the superpower of the world. And then we entered into the first turning of the last time this happened. So obviously that hasn't happened because we haven't even gotten out of the gate really with the second regeneration. I got MGTOW Outlaw in the hey. What's going on,
brother?
How are you?
I'm not bad. I'll hop in for a bit, and then somebody else wants to come in. I'll hop back out.
All right, cool. And the man of the hour has joined us, Gerry Conway. How are you? Yeah. I mean, Gerry Conway.
Shalom, brother. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Check
Yes.
1 2. Check 1 2.
I can hear you, but you gotta put on headphones because we're delayed. So you're listening probably off YouTube or something. So turn off YouTube maybe.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right,
okay.
check 1 2. I just want to make sure my levels are okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
All right, beautiful.
How you doing tonight?
Fantabulistic. I
right.
actually just got I had an interview this afternoon, and I'm starting a new position that is going to be pretty lucrative starting a week from Monday. So hallelujah.
Excellent. Yeah, I thought about getting into the voiceover stuff, but it's not as I need solid work Monday through Friday.
That's exactly the position that I interviewed for was a Monday through Friday back into the rat race gig, which I despise doing. But since this COVID crap started 3.5 years ago, it's just the first thing people cut back on is marketing.
Of course.
So it's everything just dried up. I've done over 1,000 over 1,300 projects over the past 9 years, and everything just dried up with this pandemic crap.
Right. And I believe probably it's just continuing with the way the economy is. It's not getting any better. It's probably actually going to get worse and worse and worse. Companies are going to look to cut back anywhere they can. So,
well, when you go to the supermarket and you have to pay $9 for a jar of peanut butter, I mean, come on.
Yeah. People aren't. They're not going to travel as much anymore. They're not going to go to events. They're not going to any kind of extra money is going towards the stuff that used to cost $1. Now that costs $5. So away goes all the fun stuff.
Just as a warning to everybody, if you are in the market for a new car, try not to buy anything made between 2022 and 2023. I work at a certain automotive dealership, and we are having cars come back with major computer problems and issues that are because of the parts that are integrated into the car are simply breaking. They're not made to the factory specs. They're either outsourced from China, or they're made in a way that the plastics are so cheaply made because of the prices on parts. And you cannot get parts because they're back ordered. Right now, we got about 8 cars sitting in the back that need parts that are back ordered for 6 months.
Yeah, that's the situation. I'm in automotive manufacturing, so I'm very aware.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. We had a
That's
car.
just,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Billy.
No, I was just going to say we had a car that came out that was engineered during COVID, and it's an engineering nightmare. They just like toss shit places. I'm like, why would they put that there? That makes no sense. Anyway, go ahead, Ella.
I was just gonna say that's why I stick to my old square body Chevys and the old
Yeah.
20th
Hey, buddy. Yeah.
century
Good luck
tech.
trying to get parts for that thing.
Oh, you could still find shit. I mean,
Yeah, it's easier to work on than something modern though.
yeah, that's for sure.
Pound for pound, I cannot. I need a new condenser for my third gen, and you cannot find a condenser anywhere.
Mm.
It's almost winter. You don't need you don't need AC. So Jerry,
Yes, sir.
what do you think of that video that I just played? I know I sent you the link for the full video. So
Yeah, I watched it this afternoon. I'm joining you guys late. I apologize for
that's
that.
okay. No worries.
But I watched it. I watched it this afternoon. There is a method to their madness, and I don't mean that in a positive way. Everything Pearl Harbor. Okay, we're on YouTube, so I really need to watch what I'm saying. But Pearl Harbor, that was planned. The Gulf of Tonkin in Vietnam, that was planned. 9/11, that was all planned. Share your thoughts if you have them, but I mean, it's everything's already been written. Everything's going to play out the way it's going to play out, and it's going to be horrific. Everything is going to be horrific. Have you guys read about or heard about anything about the G20 summit that's going on?
Well, I know that the Chinese, what's his name, Xi Jinping, didn't bother to show up, and I don't think Putin showed up either.
No, because they're on the same side.
Yeah,
but basically, and I don't want to shift gears, and if it makes anybody uncomfortable, please speak up, and I'll cease. But if anyone is biblically knowledgeable, in Revelation, there's going to be a time that people have to take the mark, and if they don't take the mark, they're not going to be able to buy and sell anything. But what the G20, what they're pushing, and the Federal Reserve actually has it. It's Biden enacted it last year. The central bank digital currency, and basically they'll be able to, if you say something or do something, be it on social media or be it in the real world, if you say or do something they don't like, or if you're buying things that they don't think you should. Hey, wait a second, Billy, you bought a 6-pack of beer last night, and now you're trying to buy a 6-pack of beer again? No, we're not going to let you do that. They can just shut your money off.
Well, yeah, that's very concerning, and I'm hoping that whatever happens, if there's any good that comes out of it, as far as a conflict, that all that kind of shit will just get thrown to the side and forgotten about. All the stupid Green New Deal junk and the all the World Economic Forum nonsense just gets thrown out the window, and people refocus on a better life but we're going to have to, I think, go through fire to get to that.
Hope springs eternal, brother. Hope springs eternal. But the point is, what's written has been written, and what's going to come to pass is going to come to pass.
Yeah. We're in such a spot now. It's not like we're using normal conventional bombs and all that kind of stuff. We're can very easily throw that nuke out there And it's like nobody even. It's kind of like that's on the table now, and it never was on the table. Well, I mean, they talked that it was, but I don't feel it was as easily spoken about and threatened in the way it is now, in my opinion.
What's crazy is our opposition on the other side is calling for a what was it called? Strategic. What's that word called? Preemptive. There you go. The preemptive nuke against the bear country.
Yeah, that's not good. And real quick, Polska Bob is asking who Gerry is. How Polska? How do you not know who Gerry is? So Gerry does the outros to every single Grunt Speak short.
Yeah, not everybody watches those.
Yeah. Well, what other
GerryConway.com.
There you go.
I'm a professional voice actor. You can check me out at GerryConway.com. If I don't know if it shows up on your screen, but down the bottom corner of my window, Gerry, that's Gerry with a G, GerryConway.com. I'm a professional voice actor. I've been doing it professionally and being paid for it since 2014. I've been doing voices since I was a child. And everyone is always, I shouldn't say everyone, but many people have told me throughout my life, hey, you should be on the radio. Okay, I'll go on the radio. I did have a radio gig way back in 92, 93. I was on the air from midnight Saturday until 3 a.m. Sunday morning on an erstwhile station in Allston, Massachusetts. Allston is a neighborhood of Boston. In Allston, Massachusetts, back in 92, 93. For 3 hours a week, I got paid $6 an hour.
Now, were you dropping some like Tom Likas type red pills?
No. I just played music. It was heavy metal. I just played heavy metal music, and I was.
You know how much of a golden opportunity you could add to have like a Tom Likas type shit happen?
Yeah, but you know what's ironic? It was a heavy metal show that was on a Christian radio station. So the other 165 hours of the week, they were playing like evangelists and preachers preaching the gospel, which there's nothing wrong with that. I believe in the gospel myself. I am a believer in Yeshua Messiah, and I'm a follower. I keep the Torah. I believe the Bible. I do what the Bible says. But it's ironic that this Christian station that I was on for 3 hours a week had a heavy metal show.
Were you playing like Slayer and Pantera?
Slayer, Pantera. Ronnie James Dio, Sabbath. God. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All the heavy ones.
Yeah.
Well, see, if you know about Black Sabbath, I believe Ozzy Osbourne is actually a member of like the High Count Church. He's actually a member of that.
What's that? What is that High Count Church? I'm not familiar with that one.
I don't know I forgot what it is, but he actually is a member of some sort of church that's in Great Britain. Like he's widely known for that. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Sharon.
Well, there is a dichotomy. Unfortunately, there is a lot of demonic activity in the world, and there's a lot of good in the world. But unfortunately, people that say that they believe and that they love the Almighty, they embrace both, and you can't do that. You can only serve one master. You can't do both. It's kind of like being married and having a side chick. It's like, oh, I love you, honey, but I'm just going to bang this one too. Okay. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Variety is the spice of life.
Yeah, but again, like I said, if you're married, if you have faith, if you claim to love the Almighty in heaven, you can't dabble in this other crap too. He's not going to tolerate it. He might tolerate it for a little bit, but when the day of judgment comes, no, it's not going to stand.
But I mean, you gotta remember, biblically speaking, people did have what's that word called? What's that word? No.
Polygamy?
Maybe that's it. No, there's another word for it, where you have
King,
certain women and use them for breeding purposes, and
well,
that happened during that time.
King Solomon. I mean, King Solomon had 300 wives and 700 concubines.
Concubines. Thank you.
All right, so think about that. Think about that. My buddy Wayne down in Louisiana actually brought this up to me, and he's like, I'm saying,
Louisiana,
wow,
I love that state.
imagine having 300 wives. I was like, wow, it's good to be the king. And and Wayne said to me, he was like, yeah, you get 300 wives, but you also get 300 mothers-in-law.
Michael Angel Escalante is asking, do you do a John Madden voice, Gerry?
No, I've never even tried. I love John Madden. I grew up, playing Madden football. I'm talking Madden 92, 93. I'm old, guys. I'm 56. So
with your best impression, you gotta say EA Sports.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Yes, that's it. Hey, I think we found the voice of the EA guy.
I can't do something. I never tried to do Madden, and I'm not going to do it now live because I'd probably butcher it. But boy, oh boy, I'll tell you what. You the boys that painted my cat's butt.
Hank Hill.
Mithranathan, are you going to die pretty soon?
What the hell are you two boys doing in my tool shed?
There you go. Beautiful. That's fantastic. Who was that? Who just did that?
That was me.
Me who?
And what's crazy? Mike Judge, he voiced like 90% of that show himself.
I think they brought it back again.
They
did.
I don't know if it's still going or what, but I have.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's not woken. It's amazing. I mean, everything's a little more modernized. Like they have cell phones and stuff in the show, but I mean, it absolutely makes sense. I mean, it's just it's your typical brainless 90s style show, and I love it.
I'll have to catch it. What is it on?
Yeah. I have it on streaming service.
Okay.
I know MTV probably shows a couple of bits in here and there, but if you want to get the fresh, you got to have a Hulu subscription.
Is MTV even a thing anymore?
Yeah, the channel still exists.
All that stuff's probably on some sort of a streaming service now.
Yeah.
Is TV even still a thing anymore?
DirecTV is still a thing.
Yeah, you can still get cable if you want to pay out the ass for it, right?
It's insane, dude.
Bunch of channels you don't need.
I cut the cable back in the beginning of 2017, and what they were charging me for, and I didn't even have like Cinemax, HBO. I didn't even have like a lot of stuff, but they were charging ridiculous amounts of money, and I cut it back then. I can't imagine what they're charging for it now.
Oh yeah. Well, they suck you in with the, they bring you in with a cheap price, and then they all of a sudden, like a year later, then they up it, and then they make it near impossible to kill it.
Like anything else.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
you guys, okay. Speaking of Mike Judge, who does all the voices on Beavis and Butthead, I imagine that you're all familiar and have seen Idiocracy.
Yes, it's a documentary.
Okay, it is. Okay, and the other one, the series that he did, Silicon Valley.
I haven't seen that.
Dude, you gotta check Silicon Valley. Totally done by Mike Judge, the same guy, Beavis and Butthead, that did Office Space.
Yeah.
Silicon Valley. You must watch it. I think they did 6 seasons of it. It's beyond phenomenal. I think it was on like 2009 to 2014 or something. But you must, everyone, Silicon Valley by Mike Judge, executive producer Mike Judge.
Okay, I'll check it out. The problem is I don't get a lot of time to watch like any shows. I'm usually like editing something or watching pop stuff or some other creators, and I just always forget that there's other stuff besides what I'm already watching.
Are you married, Billy?
Oh hell no. No.
Divorced?
So my ex, she up and left and took everything. If the house wasn't bolted down, she would have took it
So,
too.
so you were married.
I was. Yeah.
What kind of psycho bitch takes the ice cube trays out of the freezer?
Well, I think she left me the ice cube trays, but not much else. I mean, I had my clothes.
She took your clothes?
No, I had my clothes. She left the clothes. I had like books and my cars, but she took like everything out, like the couches and the living room and the fucking bed. I had no fucking bed. I come home to no goddamn bed. Bitch.
How long have you been married for?
I was married for 9 years, together for 10.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
how long since she bailed on you?
2011. So.
Okay. So
you didn't
12,
have any kids
12
with her,
years?
right?
Thank fucking God, no.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I just got some news myself personally.
Yeah.
I got married in 2000. I got married in 2001. We got divorced. The divorce was final in 2007.
Holy
And
shit.
I did not speak to her since the day I left the house. And the last thing she said to me was like, "I just want you to know I still love you." And I was like, "No, you don't."
Hmm.
And I just left. But I just found out I just got some news in the past 10 days that totally blew my mind. And I felt really, really strange about it. I found out my ex-wife passed away back in the beginning of July.
Ooh, yeah. That's always weird when somebody you've been with.
So she kicked her air addiction?
Yeah. And I actually went and I looked at like her sister's Facebook and her brother's Facebook. And they both said, okay, she passed away on this day, but there was nothing before that said, please pray for her, she's fighting a battle or anything like. So I'm thinking it was like a heart attack. But I actually talked to a buddy of mine when I told my buddy about this. He said, "Oh, don't you know about that new thing, that sudden adult death syndrome?"
Yeah.
And I was thinking, wow, maybe it's that. Maybe it's that.
I was just going to say, anytime somebody dies unexpectedly now, the first thing that hits my mind is, did they get the poke? It's just automatic now.
I don't know one way or the other, but I do know how she was. And we divorced before President, what the hell was, I don't want to say the name, but President 44, before he ever even got on the radar. We were done before that, but I guarantee you that she voted for him. And I will absolutely positively, beyond the shadow of a doubt, just based on what I knew about her, I will bet you that she got the jab and 27 boosters after that.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Oh, speaking of which, let me just, since we're talking, and I don't want to get too deep because, like,
I'm just gonna throw us. I got one for you. I'm gonna throw us out here. So originally, before
you cut me off, I was about to.
Yeah, dude, come on. Let Billy finish, man. Come on.
All right,
I'm sorry. My story. Hold on. So I was at this fair last weekend. I know I talked about this on The Gilded, so you probably already heard this. That's why you're like, shut up. But I was at this fair, and they had a national chain pharmacy at one of the booths. They had all these booths, people selling, pickles and brownies and all this shit, crafts. And so they had a national pharmacy local to the area. And a guy was asking one of the women, when's the new shot coming out, the new boost? And so the woman said, it's not ready yet. It'll be ready next month. So keep your eyes open and ears open for that. And then she said, this I thought was very telling. She said, It's not a booster. It is a whole new shot that is made to work against the new variation. I was like, isn't that convenient that there's already a new thing in the works coming out next month to battle the new variation? Isn't that just fascinating how they're just ready for it? So just so you guys know, and this guy, this sheep was ready. Where is it? I need to take it. Give me it. Surprised he wasn't wearing a mask. Anyway, Spy Balloon. Go ahead with what you're about to say.
Oh yeah. So talking about the poking. So before I became a guy who turns wrenches, I went to mortuary school for a little bit. I failed out of it, but that's beside the point. So I still have friends who became morticians and what have you. If I can find some photos here, I'm more than happy to show it. But they are pulling out 8-inch clots out of people's legs and arms, and they've never seen this before.
There's a documentary. It's a short. It's like half an hour, 40 minutes, I believe, on both BitChute and MGTOW TV. That basically goes into all that. I think it's called like Sudden Death or I forget the name of it. Somebody in the chat put it up, and because it came out last year, and it basically goes in and it shows the stuff that's happening. And look, when I was so I walk every day, and when the winter comes, it's just easier for me to walk around my local cemetery because they have it nice and plowed. And I could just Sudden Death, that's the name of it. So in 2021, in February, I counted. Now, this is, by the way, this is not a thorough study of anything. This was just my observation that in 2021, February 2021, while walking through the cemetery, I counted 2 funerals. In February 2022, I counted, I believe it was somewhere like 10 or 12. And that was well into when the poke was out. I also am friendly with the local priest, and he's basically said, he's confirmed to me that the number of expirations have gone up quite a bit. He's doing a lot of masses for people who are expiring. So, yeah. But I think, look, I think everybody who listens to my shows and in the chat and on the panel here, you guys all know the deal, right? So the best thing you can do is keep that shit away from you any way possible, and don't cave into having to take that thing, because I think it's
say no more. Say no more.
Yeah.
Well,
you know how I feel of it.
So
a nod's as good as a wink to a blind bat. Just don't. Just only because you're on YouTube. Listen, Billy, are you on? You're on Rumble. Can you stream on Rumble?
So me and Rumble, I have problems with Rumble, and I hope that I took a last week off, and I think that may have reset my problems with Rumble, because the problem I was having with Rumble was that 25 to 30% of my videos just goes into a review state, and they never publish it. And
really,
yeah. Now, meanwhile, my Rumble just pulls from my YouTube, literally just pulls all the stuff over. So why is YouTube allowing it, but Rumble saying, nah, you can't put this here? Well, or like I said, they don't say you can't put it. They just put it in a perpetual review, and they never release it.
My specific question is, would you be able to live stream on Rumble?
Yes, I can live stream on Rumble, but
okay, could you do that, and then we wouldn't have to like censor ourselves as far as certain topics?
Yeah,
just a thought.
We could, sure. I mean, this will end up on Rumble eventually. It will get pulled over, but can I do a stream over there? I guess with enough notice, because I'm not very active over there, because I feel that they, you know, and they withheld money from Hammer Hand for like months, weeks and months, that was owed to him, and he had to delay the payment to his people who are working on his comics because Rumble wasn't fucking paying him. So I have issues with some of these platforms. The only platform I don't have an issue with is MGTOW TV. I think that's the best goddamn platform out there. It's not perfect. Look, it's got its issues, but it's one guy who owns it and runs it and manages it. So hats off to him, Amir, for keeping that sucker going. And I hope everybody uses it more, because I'm trying to add as much as I can to it with my movies every week. I put movies up. Sometimes I put multiple movies up in a week. And there's other people who are just adding tons of content to it constantly. So I think that's a good place for us people to go.
Okay. So, question for you, please.
Yes.
All right. If you post something like, all right, just say, for example, like Pop and Blake do, if they post something on, because I've been on MGTOW.tv. If you do a live stream on MGTOW.tv, will it stay there afterwards like it will on YouTube?
Yes.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But MGTOW TV, I mean, look, even when Pop streams, he only gets like max, he'll get like 80 to 90. It's just people don't remember to use it, or they'll go over to Rumble, which I believe Rumble is eventually going to turn around and start having the same kind of bullshit that YouTube has, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Of course they will.
You're probably right. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's run by corporations, and corporations have to answer to their advertisers. And plus, from what I understand, they don't really pay you much. And you can get as many views as you get on YouTube, but YouTube will give you X amount, whereas Rumble will give you a tiny fraction of that, because they don't have the advertising revenue dollars that YouTube has. Not that I give a fuck what I get, because I get nothing, but I'm just saying, if you're looking as a potential revenue stream.
No. I'm not talking about a revenue stream. I'm just talking about being able to speak uncensored and not having to censor ourselves as we're talking. Listen, if you right now, for instance, right now, this minute, if you said, okay, we're going to MGTOW, okay, I would go there in a heartbeat. Just to be able to speak freely. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's why anybody is going to these alt platforms anyway, right? I think if we go back into lockdown 2.0, I definitely think that those will be the places that we would have these bigger discussions about current states of affair, because that platforms like this are going to not only will they lock stuff down, but they'll retroactively go back through your videos and start fucking with you, right? So,
right. Now, when you say lockdown 2.0, has that already happened? Because I thought that's what's coming next.
Well, I think that they were really going head first into it from everything I heard, but then people are like, what are you talking about? We can't do this again. So they've pulled back. Like I said, in talking to like coworkers, right? These are just normie people who aren't very active on either side of the aisle. They're telling me that their kids schools have just started again, and they're telling me that they're already talking about wearing masks in school, and this kid has COVID, and when we have to have take 2 weeks off kind of shit. So it's already kind of happening, and I'm seeing people with masks again, for fuck's sake. So
what do you mean again, dude? They've never stopped.
Well,
some people have never stopped.
Some people, but I mean, I think now you wear a mask, I think people look at you a little fucking weird. It's just, the real hardcore people are wearing the masks. The ones that are just so fucking indoctrinated.
Well, yeah.
But I think the normies will be they'll put those masks back on because it's what they'll do to hold on to their jobs and whatever else. So,
Well, I said before, I mean, look, if they have enough time to plan this in advance, put rules in place, that's not organic.
Of course not.
That's a scripted event.
Yep, totally.
A pandemic is supposed to be something, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, that blindsides society and we can't get a handle on it for quite some time. Mm-hmm. This isn't something like that. This has nothing.
Who was just speaking right now? Who was
that? That's
MGTOW
Outlaw.
MGTOW Outlaw. Where are you from? Where are you from, brother?
Alabama.
I had a very good friend my sophomore year in high school named Larry Choate. He didn't say Alabama. He said Alabama.
Well, you could just, say it the way they do down there. Bama.
Bama.
Yeah. Bama. Yeah, he was a good dude. I miss him. I got to look. Thanks for reminding me. I got to look him up, see if I can get back in touch with him. It's been 40 years.
Shinobi One has a good point here that a grand catastrophe is coming to a world ship near you. Prepare now or die tomorrow. And I tend to agree with that sentiment. That based on that video that I showed at the beginning there. I think.
Go ahead, Billy.
No, I was going to say that it's hard to believe that people can just follow these patterns, and I didn't say hello to Crusader Nate. Thank you for coming, Crusader Nate. I'm sure Crusader can back me up in saying that people just fall into habits and patterns, and
they do.
Big groups fall into patterns and whatnot. And I think we just are going to inevitably just do the same fucking shit that we've been doing of following these patterns. What do you think there, Nate?
You're right. I mean, we've talked about this before. We've looked at many different things, many historical events and situations.
Can you boost your gain there, Nate? Can hardly hear you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. My mic has been really weird.
Can you just boost your gain if you can?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
All right, that's better. That's better.
Okay. Yeah, sums up with my mic. It's been really weird the past couple of weeks for some reason. But yeah, we've seen this through history, through the number of years, with a lot of different things going on. People go along to get along. People are lazy by nature, so they're going to do whatever they have. They're going to do whatever they have to do just to be able to stay "quote unquote" comfortable. Do I see this leading somewhere? Yes, I do. Do I see round 2 coming? Yes, I do. Billy and I talked about this, even before all this was really starting. The situation, the world is set up just right for cases like this to occur. I've seen people that they put the mask on in 19 and they never have taken it off yet. But I also see people that are the Karens in communities and yelling at people for not wearing masks.
Still?
Oh yeah.
I haven't seen people reprimanding other people yet, but I'm sure
that happened to me Sunday.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's not good.
In an open parking lot. I mean,
that's crazy.
And did it happen to you?
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. I was getting out of my truck and I was walking to a store, like 6:30 in the morning, and there's some little Oompa Loompa looking 4'11", 400-pounder, quarter-tonner, wearing her mask and purple hair, screaming at me about I should know better to protect people.
I mean, think about this, guys. If you have credible doctors telling you to take ivermectin, vitamin C, D, stock up on that, and it's actually helping people to the point to where they're getting over it, relatively quickly. Why would you have people at the top trying to silence that?
Because there's no money in vitamin supplements. There's no money in something, a prescription that its patent has expired 20, 30, 40 years ago. There's no money in that. It's the same. Listen, Rockefeller did this over 100 years ago, all right, when he established the American Medical Association. Now, Billy, you can tell me to shut up because I don't want to get you blocked or banned from YouTube.
I'll end up getting myself banned. So.
Okay. But all right, you guys should all, everybody listening should listen to or look up Eddie Bravo on the Rockefellers, and he talks about the entire history in 5 minutes. Rockefeller, 100 years ago, established the American Medical Association. And what they did was they said everyone that's ever done like holistic medicine, whatever, no, you can't do that anymore. That's all that they debunked it. They said it's quackery. All these natural herbal remedies that have worked for thousands of years. You can't do that anymore. You have to do what we do. You have to go to school and get indoctrinated and follow what we say you have to do to be a doctor in the United States. And they instituted pharmaceuticals, which were all petroleum based. So when they instituted all these petroleum based pharmaceuticals nearly 100 years ago, give or take a decade or two, the cancer rates in this country exploded. I mean, cancer just went out of control. So Rockefeller, to deal with that, instituted the American Cancer Society. So he was like, he had his tendrils, he had his tentacles in everything. Education. Did you know? Okay, I'll just give a quick callback. Are you guys aware of Prohibition?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Prohibition had nothing to do with people drinking. Prohibition had to do with automobile fuel, because you could make ethanol out of any vegetable that ferments. Potatoes, carrots, apples, pears, anything that ferments, you could make alcohol out of that, and you could fuel automobiles. But Rockefeller, who was running and owned Standard Oil at the time, he said, that's why he lobbied and instituted Prohibition, because that was a threat to oil.
So Thumper who's in the chat, he knows how to make his own fuel, and he has to file with the state. I believe it's the state. From what I remember, he's limited to how much he could produce, and he has to. I can't remember all the stipulations of it, but there's things he has to have a license to do it. There's a couple other things I can't quite remember. I covered it in my very first live stream, so go back and listen to that because I talked about it there.
Well, you guys basically beat me to it, but I was gonna say, yeah, that's one of the questions people don't ask themselves, right? It's a scripted event. But you're right. You basically answered it. Everybody in the chat beat me to what I was gonna say, but yeah.
Here's the counterpoint to that whole thing with prohibition and alcohol. I mean, you're talking about making your own fuel, what have you. You are aware that the gasoline back then had lead in it and what have you. But if you were to put straight alcohol into a car like that, you would eat the fuel lines and the rubber gaskets and hoses. The same concept as if you were to try to run E85 today, your car wouldn't start. It would eat all the fuel lines. It's just not good for the car.
Fuel lines could be made from different materials.
Yes.
So,
but if you took your everyday car, like your Model T, whatever it was back in the day,
it would have to be modified. You'd have to make it for that specific fuel. It's same. I'm being drastic, but you can't put diesel into a gas engine. You can't put gasoline into a diesel engine. It needs to be ready for that specific fuel, whatever engine you're using.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know Thumper runs. He runs his fuel. There's a mix he has to use. It's not
Does
straight
he
up.
make biodiesel or something?
No, he makes alcohol fuel. So
Oh, he's making
I'm not.
E85.
No,
it's like 80. I don't think it's exactly 85. I forget what he calls it, but he'll chime in a chat. He's here, so.
Well, when I brought that up, I wasn't talking about people making their own fuel in their backyards. I was talking about it being mass produced.
Right.
Because if somebody, bad analogy, not popular, but I'm saying if you get a company like Anheuser-Busch that's got breweries in I don't know how many states, if they were to manufacture ethanol on a grand scale, they could chunk out a lot more than any you or me or anybody else could ever do in their backyard. That's what Rockefeller was against, was people, other companies mass producing it. That's why he said, "Oh, everybody's got a drinking problem. We gotta ban the production of alcohol." Had nothing to do with people drinking. Had nothing to do with that. Just had to do with them competing.
Rockefeller always. Sorry.
It just it had nothing to do with people drinking or having a drinking problem. It had to do with them competing with his Standard Oil business.
Personally, with the EVs about to take over the automotive market here in the next 10, 20 years.
Don't get me started.
It won't happen. It won't happen. It won't happen.
Well, I was going to say, I believe there's going to be another spike in people learning how to make their own fuel.
Oh, for sure.
Fuel,
for
corn-based, any of it.
That's why I keep telling Thumper he's got to make, he's got to dedicate his channel to it, because I think we're really heading that way. I mean, fuel, if you haven't noticed, has been going up recently. It's going to keep going and going and going and going.
Well,
because our reserves are almost depleted.
Yeah, well, we sent everything to fucking Ukraine. God's sake, all our money, all our fuel,
$2 billion a month, $3 billion a month.
I mean, it's unbelievable, and the government just keeps doing it. What the fuck are we doing?
Did any of you guys see the stuff that happened last week in New York City? I forget who the representative was, but
AOC.
It was AOC, but there was someone else, and the people were screaming. The constituents, the residents, the citizens of New York were saying, "Close the border, send them back. Close the border, send them back," and they were like just totally ignoring them. So
they
voted for that.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Jerry, I'm glad you said that, because I don't believe that EVs will be the future either, because there's so much that goes against, the ingredients of the batteries to the way that we mine lithium. There's just no way that that's going to be the future of how it's currently set up.
You get little 6-year-old kids in mines in Kenya and Uganda and wherever else in Africa, and these mines. Now, all right, picture a mine in any movie. Picture. What was the second Indiana Jones? Temple of Doom. All right, picture those mines where he's riding through on the car, and you got all these like 2x4s and 4x8s that are propping all this, this mine up and everything, where they're digging out everything else. These mines in Africa where they're digging the cobalt, they don't have those. They don't have that. And these mines collapse on them and kill them like all the freaking time.
I got a good one for you. So a certain car we have, it's all fully electric, right? And it came out a couple years ago. But now we're starting to get reports that after the warranty expires, like literally probably like 20,000 miles after the warranty expires, the battery goes bad because there's a sole proprietary cooling system that fails to work, and it doesn't let you know until it's too late. You got to look at the customer's face when they shit themselves, when you show them a $16,000 bill to replace their battery.
Well, I mean, one says, "Call me shocked."
Well, I mean, you want to talk about, governments kind of dictating and pushing things the way they want things to go. I mean, EV is a perfect example of this. They're all pushing this green energy shit. They're all pushing the electric cars. knowing that there is no possible way that every person who has a car would be able to buy a new electric vehicle. And they're pushing the companies to go completely electric, and that's why you're having problems now with the big three. With the they're having strikes now because they're just not profitable with this EV stuff. So it's all tied together. The Chinese are involved. They own mines. They got their hands in everything. Just saying.
And they're in Afghanistan now that we pulled out of last year. And Afghanistan is a wealth of cobalt, iridium, and all the other elements that they need for these batteries.
Lithium. The one thing that I know a lot of people that have electric vehicles that I'm hearing from them repeatedly. Anyone who lives in the northern United States, you know what winters do get like. It gets a little on the brisk side. If anybody has ever had a battery-operated tool and left it in an outdoor garage that gets cold in the winter, how fast does the cold kill that battery?
Oh,
I know people.
Less than 24 hours.
Exactly. I know people who have Teslas and other electric cars that can't afford the 50 to 70 grand for a charging station in their garage, or another 50 grand for an electrician to drop a new 100 amp service to their garage to continuously plug in the vehicle, so they'll fully charge it before they go home and get up in the morning and only have about 10% or 20%, which will barely be enough for them to get to a charging station to charge the car up completely before they go to work. Some have only had them 2 or 3 years, and the batteries are already showing full wear where they charge at 100%, drive about 15-20 minutes, and the battery is already at half power already, due to cold exposure.
So they have something for that. The newer cars that we have, they have a heating element in the water jackets for the batteries, and a little heater turns on, so it gives you instant heat for the driver. Also heats up the batteries too, so it prevents it from freezing. Because if the battery does get cold, it is done.
Right, but it's also going to when the temperature is below freezing, it's also going to take, instead of
energy
8 hours for a full charge, it will take 8 hours to get up to 6% of a charge.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's a big problem, and people think about the lithium ion batteries that they use in tools and things like that. Now, what they've been shifting to is a lithium iron phosphate battery, which is about 40 to 50% less weight. However, when I have a couple of those batteries, and they are pretty volatile. When they will go, they will go. They claim they're not as dangerous, so to speak, or they're not as bad. But from what I've been looking into them, if you pop one of those batteries, it's over. You're just gonna have to let it burn itself out, or have to bring in some pretty amazing chemicals to put that out.
Oh, there's videos.
Not every
that stuff going out. Go on, Sean.
Yeah.
Sorry, and thank you for coming, Sean. I didn't give you. I added you in when we were all talking. Good to see you.
Yeah, but not every fire department is equipped to deal with having to use chemical extinguishers, which instead of putting water on it, they're displacing the oxygen. So because fire needs 3 elements: oxygen, heat, and another element I forgot. But if you take oxygen away, you take fire away. But when you have something like a lithium fire, only big departments have something that are capable of combating it.
Well,
not only,
Sean,
most don't.
Yeah. Sean, up where you are, you experienced and you've seen what they call block heaters. You've seen things where they have ways of heating and preventing diesel fuel from gelling. Now, it does get cold enough up there to even gel with those heaters. How well do you think one of those batteries, even if they have a heating system, that's going to burn energy out of that battery and consume it to maintain it above that level, say 40 degrees. And I know where you are, Sean, and for it to hit 30 below, 40 below, 50 below for a couple of days in a row is pretty common in some areas. So,
Yep.
not everybody has the capability of plugging these things in indefinitely, and that's number one. Number two, if you look at the amount of power and current that's going to draw from the grid, look what's already going on in the West Coast. They're talking about how they don't have enough power to run air conditioning units in homes, running fans, running refrigeration units, and everything else. So if you want to actually run these vehicles and power them from the power grid, make sure the grid can bear the weight of the additional implements being added to it.
Well,
No
it
one's even
can't.
talking about that yet.
Can't even maintain the current demand.
No,
And
not on the
current
West Coast.
demand, yeah, current demand can put many people at risk where you have higher temperatures,
Yeah.
where people are going to get heat exhaustion or possibly heat stroke if they can't turn their AC on.
Yep.
Well,
May I
that's
make a comment, please?
sure, Jerry. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Pardon me, gentlemen. But the thing is, okay, you can get into your gas-powered vehicle or diesel-powered vehicle, and you can drive. If you have got a full tank, you can drive 250, 300 miles, and you want to drive from Boston to Miami. You can pull over to a gas station, and you can fill it up, and then just keep going. You get down to Pennsylvania, you need to fill up. Okay. Then you keep going. Then you get down to, North Carolina, you got to fill up again. And then you fill up, and then you just keep going. And as long as you can stay awake, I mean, my brother did it. He drove from Miami to Boston in 24 hours or 26 hours, and he stayed awake the whole time.
God damn.
But the point is,
Yeah.
you can do that with a combustion engine. With an electric vehicle, you cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they're pushing it, because they want to keep us under control. And there's just all they have to do, turn the power off. And on top of that, most of all these charging stations are powered by diesel generators. And if you've got a Tesla and your battery dies, what do? They pull up with a diesel generator to charge you up.
Yeah.
It's funny. I see on Facebook with EV vehicles, like EV trucks, they got a generator in the bed of the truck, or like those little cages outside the tailgate, and they got the generator going while they're on the side of the road, and their EV, or they're powering up their EV.
Yeah.
They're not.
You still need fossil
There's nothing
fuels.
green about it. There was an episode. I think it was SVU. I don't know. It was crime scene, whatever crap. My wife used to watch this shit. I didn't watch
CSI?
it. CSI. There was an episode of CSI, and there was a guy that was on the stand, and the woman said, "What kind of car?" And this is like 2004. She said, "What kind of car do you drive?" He said, He was like, raised his hand like he was so proud. "I drive a hybrid." He probably had like a Prius or something. And she said, "Okay, well, you're very proud of that." And you can look it up on YouTube. I don't know the exact title, but you can look it up on YouTube. It's still there. It's like, all right, are you aware that all of the time and expense of transporting and fuel to transport all of these, like the lithium and the whatever other elements that you need for this battery, from this country to this country, and then it has to be shipped over here to China, and then they put it together, and then they make the battery, and then they ship it back. That generated more pollution than a combustion engine car would have ever generated. And it's true. It's true. It's absolutely true.
Yeah,
That's the part they don't tell you.
Yeah,
of course not, because AOC horse teeth wants to what is Jericho Green, her womb is so polluted.
Well, Jerry, you make a great point. The only thing green about this Green New Deal is the money that these companies that are making these things are funneling to the politicians to vote for this stuff, number one. Number two, I know two different people that did some cross-country road trips. One guy went from Minnesota to Arizona. He had an additional 2.5 days just in charging time of his Tesla.
It's ridiculous.
The whole point of EV. Oh, go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, but I mean, look at how. I mean, time is one thing none of us will ever get back. Flat out. We all know that. We can all agree on that. Now you have all these people that are pushing and promoting all these EVs and all this stuff going on. I mean, charging stations are few and far between. I mean, it's become almost the butt of the joke of people joking about people getting stuck on the side with trucks with generators to charge them up. I mean, yeah, I understand that. I mean, if you're going to start rolling out and forcing the population to do this, you might want to set up the infrastructure to do it first. Either that, or this is nothing more than a big fancy money grab, and the only thing green about it is the money going into people's pockets.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of EV is to put people on a switch that can be controlled. That's it. Like smartphone, smart house. Yep. Now they want your cars
Stay away
controlled.
from that stuff, fellas, if you can. I do not have Wi-Fi in my house. I'm still running old school Ethernet in my house.
Oh, that's what I do. But I do that for maximizing my network potential.
Well, for one thing, yeah, it's fast.
Sucks.
It's absolutely faster. But Wi-Fi just listen.
Yeah, good.
There was an experiment. And this was done back in like 2009, I think, either in Finland or Sweden. I forget where, but there were a bunch of junior high students or whatever their equivalent is over there. They did an experiment, and they had 2 rooms that had the exact same conditions, the exact same sunlight exposure, the exact same temperature, and they had one room had Wi-Fi in it and the other did not. And they planted some seeds, and the seeds in the room that did not have Wi-Fi germinated, budded, grew, and flourished. But the seeds that were planted in the room that had the Wi-Fi, nothing happened. So
interesting.
And that was back. You guys, they probably quashed it. They probably scrubbed it from the internet. But this was back, like I said, this was back in like 2009, 2010. That experiment was done. So yeah, when I read that, I was like, I do have a Wi-Fi router, but the only time that I plug it in is if like a friend comes over with a laptop or whatever and said, "Hey, do you got Wi-Fi here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, hold on one second." I go upstairs and then I plug it in. But other than that, no Wi-Fi in my place.
Actually, Jerry, you raise up a great point, and I can't remember where it is. I'm looking for it right now. But the FCC changed something earlier this year for any and all ham radio operators. They want you to test and to check how much RF exposure you have or people around you to be able to measure and calculate. And if you exceed a certain level of RF radiation, you need to actually file for a permit for it.
What?
What? No shit.
Yeah.
Real quick. So I only got room for 6 guys, and Mando showed up, so I got to rotate somebody out. So I can rotate.
Hey, man, yeah, you can just rotate me out. I'm gonna get ready to go to bed.
Okay.
I can bail out, dude.
Oh no. I only need one spot. So Spy Balloon, you're leaving?
Yeah, just rotate me out. I'm gonna probably just go in the backstage and just shut it down, get ready for bed. I gotta wake up at 5 tomorrow.
All right, cool. Thanks for coming, man.
Oh yeah. Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, thanks.
You
Take
too.
care.
Maybe he was just breathing heavy.
Hey guys.
Hey, Mando. Thanks for coming.
I I heard what you were talking about just a second ago, and you actually are talking about my bread and butter when it comes to the Army. um, the all of the antenna systems that you're talking about actually put off a certain amount of measurable radiation, and there's several antenna systems utilized by the Army and actually DoD in general that put out radiation to a point where they actually have 25-meter exclusion zones around them.
Yep.
Now,
I worked on some of those. I was supposed to reclass into satellite communications, and we operated one where we had to do a cordon. It was about 25 meters circumference, because if somebody walked into the line of sight of that receiver, they would be irradiated.
yeah, you'd cook them. The thing is, the Wi-Fi experiment that you were talking about a minute ago, Jerry.
Yes, sir.
I don't remember what the exact band is, but you're essentially getting hit by a low-level dose of semi-ionizing radiation every time these systems are active. I have it in my apartment. I'll be completely honest. But when I don't, or when I'm not using it, e.g., I'm not on a stream or I'm not trying to check something out online, I unplug the entire system.
That's what I do. That's exactly what I do.
And I completely depower it before I even try going to bed. Because the thing is, what most people don't realize, radiation above a certain wavelength actually does mess with your brain's neurochemistry.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing about me, and I don't want to turn into who was Jimmy's brother in Better Call Saul, and, putting up tinfoil around his entire all his walls. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. If anybody watched Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
not only am I familiar with that, but I've also seen the studies on it. That does absolutely no darn good.
Okay, but anyway, I don't want to do that. But I live in a condo. I'm in a complex, and if I can look on my on my computer and I can see all the other Wi-Fi networks that are active. I got people 10 feet away from me, 30 feet away from me, 60 feet away from me. They've all got Wi-Fi going.
Oh yeah. The thing is, the only way you can effectively shield yourself against that, you'd have to build a Faraday cage. And most apartment complexes and condo complexes, if they find out you're trying to do something like that, you're going to be finding a new place to live real quick.
Yeah, well, honestly, with the taxes in Massachusetts and the condo fees that they're charging me, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm looking at Indiana. Anybody have any thoughts? I don't want to go to Texas because it's too friggin' hot. I'm just thinking Indiana because it's a constitutional carry state, or even go up north to New Hampshire. That's a constitutional carry state, but they get really cold in the winter and they get a ton of snow.
Well, I don't know if it's constitutional carry yet, but you could also look at Kansas. It's a little bit more temperate, at least most of the time.
Yeah, they get more tornadoes than Indiana does.
You could come down here with me to Alabama.
It's way too humid, dude. Way too humid. I'm Irish. I'm Irish. I cannot. Listen, it gets too humid up here in New England for me.
I would suggest my home state, but no one wants to be in misery.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Real quick, Jerry.
Misery loves company.
Real quick,
Why do you
Jerry.
think it's in the center of the country?
Go ahead, Billy.
It was Chuck. Was Jimmy's brother. Although whenever I watched it, I just saw the Squiggy.
Chuck. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Or was he Lenny?
No. He was Lenny.
Lenny, right? Lenny and Squiggy. Yeah. I just saw Lenny.
Oh God.
He was also he was a character actor for decades. That's what he did.
Yeah.
He was the state trooper that pulled over John Candy and Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Do you think this vehicle is safe for highway travel? Yes, I do. Okay, you've got no outside mirror. No. You have no speedometer. No, that's melted. but the radio works, and it comes in clear as a bell. Go figure. No, I can't let you proceed in this vehicle. This vehicle will be impounded until it's safe for highway travel. Listen, officer. Okay, I broke the law. I apologize. But listen, if you impound our car, I won't get my friend home in time for his Thanksgiving dinner. Blah, blah, blah. Planes, trains, and automobiles. Any of you young guys that have never seen that, that is a must-see movie, especially around Thanksgiving.
Oh, I've got
Oh,
it
yeah.
on VHS.
Oh, wow.
Showing your age. I do too. I got it on DVD as well.
I haven't watched that in a while.
Thumper's saying you do a good John Candy impression.
John Candy, rest in peace. He was 43 when he died.
Yeah, well, he was a big
Wow.
boy.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
was
happens when you're a big boy.
Great
Yeah,
actor.
he was pushing like 400 pounds, man. It's very, very unfortunate because he was, not only was he a fantastic comedic actor, by what I've heard or seen from people interviewed that worked with him, he was the kindest, most gentle, loving, just friendly individual. I would have loved to have met him.
I heard rumors. If I remember right, he was also in Spaceballs.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he was Barf.
Barf.
If I
Uncle Buck.
he's on a lot of stuff.
if I remember right, he actually ad-libbed 2/3 of his lines in Spaceballs, and Mel Brooks let
Yeah.
it stand because he was just so darn good at it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that
He was
doesn't
on.
surprise me.
He
That
was
doesn't
on
surprise me at all.
SCTV.
National Lampoon's Vacation.
The great
No.
Uncle
Sorry,
Buck.
Yeah,
folks,
well, he was
park's closed.
the security
The
guard.
moose outside should
Yeah.
have told you.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
anyway, we
But
okay.
Reel this in.
Yeah,
Reel this in,
I
Billy.
was about to
Get
reel it
control. Get control. Go
I'm
ahead.
trying.
Billy, can I rewind for just 1 second? It is actually
Absolutely.
related to where you were or something earlier.
Sure.
When they designed the battery packs for a lot of these EVs, there were two things they did with them that they technically they shouldn't have. Well, ethically they should not have done, but they did it because it will allow the companies to get more green in their wallets later. One, they did not put adequate cooling systems in them. They tried designing them with primarily an air-cooled system over the battery pack. It should be an air and fluid-cooled system, not water, but some kind of a coolant system. And two, they failed to put anything even remotely like a fire suppression system in them. Half of these EVs you see burning down on the side of the roads, if they put a similar fire suppression system to what they have in a lot of military aircraft and ground vehicles, those things would not be burning down as badly. Yeah, you'd still have a totaled vehicle, but you wouldn't have a totaled vehicle and an environmental disaster in the same space.
Right.
Oh yeah, I worked for Apple as a contractor for security for a little bit. One of my days off, I heard about the next shift I went back in. Somebody brought in a phone for repair that they didn't pierce the battery casing, but when they opened it up, something hit the battery casing and released it to open air. And they had to close the store, evacuate the immediate stores because it's in a mall, so it's all circulated air. And yeah, they had to wait for the lithium or whatever chemicals, the chemical reaction to dissipate in order to reopen the store.
Well, do you all remember a few years ago there was a big controversy with the 787s?
Yeah. Yes.
That's because someone at Boeing got the genius idea to install lithium batteries of a similar design to what they utilize in a lot of the EVs nowadays. And they didn't realize that above a certain altitude, not only does the outer skin of the aircraft is kind of chilly and the interior is chilly, but anything mechanical gets hot.
Right.
There's a lot of these aircraft that you can actually, when they land, you can actually take and fry an egg on the leading edge of the wings.
Well, I mean, look, the wing's going to be hot just from cutting through the air. You get the friction.
Air friction.
Yep, but the thing is, there's a lot of the internal mechanisms that also get just insanely hot. The oxygen generators and the battery packs were right next to each other on those aircraft at about the time that controversy was going on.
Ooh, that's asking for trouble.
Hold on, I gotta address this. Apparently, I'm not sure if we're the dumb fucks or in the chat's the dumb fucks. That Boeing's has been producing jet fuel from algae and the sun and bacteria for 20 fucking years.
I don't think he's referring to anyone currently on the panel.
Okay, I don't, because I don't remember us talking about it.
That's valid, and that's actually wonderful that we can do that. I mean, all right. There's
Yes,
there was
I'm
a
seeing
video.
what you fucking said, by the way. Sorry, go on.
No, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
There was a documentary. It wasn't Scientific American, but there was a PBS series. I can't remember the name of it, but it was hosted by Alan Alda, and there was one specific episode, and you can look this up. You can find this. It is on YouTube. Well, it was. I don't know if they pulled it, but there was one specific episode called Hydrogen Hopes, and he was up. I think he was in Iceland or Finland. I'm not sure where, but they only had one hydrogen fueling station, but you get this car that's fueled with hydrogen, and do you know what the exhaust is?
Water.
Yeah.
Water, just plain simple water.
So, but good.
No, I'm just saying that's okay. Everything people say, well, hydrogen is combustible. Every burnable fuel is combustible. People think hydrogen, and they think about the Hindenburg in 1936 that blew up. All right, that's of course, but gasoline is combustible. Electric vehicles are combustible. Gasoline is combustible. There's always a danger. There's a danger in everything that you're going to burn. Now, I just want to. There was a woman that told me a story. And this is probably 5 or 6 years ago. This is the absolute truth. It's not posted online. This was like a person-to-person conversation. Her son was, I think, 13 or 14 years old, and his phone got wet. So the mother took the phone from him and she stuffed it into a box of rice, which is what you're supposed to do. She said, "Here, just leave it in here overnight." And she went to bed because she had to go to work in the morning. And this child, 13, 14, however old he was, he wanted to be on his phone. So he took his phone out, and apparently it wasn't completely dried out. And he used his phone, and it worked. I guess it worked. And then he went to bed, and he plugged his phone in. Phone caught fire and burned the house down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's not just automobiles we're talking about. We're talking about anything that's rechargeable. Anything electrical and rechargeable is a danger of combustion.
Yeah.
If you notice,
anything is under the right conditions.
If you notice, when I was talking earlier, I was speaking specifically about the lithium batteries.
Yes.
I've been a huge advocate for hydrogen fuel cells since the movie Demolition Man came out. Because I don't know if you all know this, but every one of those vehicles that they used in that movie actually was built. And it was built using hydrogen fuel cell technology.
Yep.
Well, they were really pushing that at that time. There was actually the original Charger, the remake, that got us the Charger in 2008. The production. The prototype was a hydrogen vehicle. But the problem is that they can't figure out a way to transfer hydrogen easily in a consumer grade atmosphere.
Actually,
like a regular person could do.
Here's actually where the problem is with that one, Billy.
Yeah.
They have a way that they can distribute it. The thing is, they want to be able to refine it at centralized points the way we do oil currently. The thing is, you can actually siphon hydrogen right out of the atmosphere.
Or out of the water, out of the ocean.
Yep. And the technology for that exists, and I want to say it's about the size of a 20-foot mill van type thing that you could park behind your average gas station right now and be able to fuel most vehicles in a mid-sized city. From that, going into an underground tank that's the same design as what we use currently for gasoline. They don't want to do that because they lose central control, and you can't tax it as easily. Because hypothetically, the gas station operator decides, you know what, I've been doing this for 20-something years. I'm ready to get out of this field. Oh, the company that doesn't want to buy the license back? Okay. I'll just sell the station to somebody else after making sure that they know how to use the pump.
Can I throw something out real quick while we're on that topic?
And then we're going to switch topics. Back to the original topic. Go ahead.
The plane is crashing into the trees. I totally forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry. I threw you off.
No, don't apologize. It's my fault. It's old age.
Well, I did have a thought about that. Since the exhaust is water for a hydrogen engine, could a hydrogen engine system recycle its own exhaust back into being used as fuel?
Yes,
and water.
Yes and no at the same time. Because technically speaking, what a hydrogen fuel cell would do is it would create both hydrogen and oxygen. If you had I think there were experiments done by NASA with that to be able to create rovers using that kind of a closed system. I think the problem that they came up with was that they couldn't get it to pressurize properly.
Yeah, I think that would be the biggest problem, is trying to pressurize it back into the fuel tank to be reused as fuel later.
Yeah. I would have to go and see if I could find those old schematics that I still have somewhere.
So believe it or not, Hyundai has come up with a prototype where they're using a hydrogen engine to repower to charge the batteries, and it's one vehicle. So,
okay, for an EV or a gas engine?
It's a hydrogen engine that they're using to recharge the batteries in a battery powered. So it's like a dual system.
It's kind of a super hybrid.
Yeah. But
I can't remember exactly what the point I was going to make was, but I do remember a smaller point that I was going to make was, as far as a source for hydrogen, one of the easiest sources for hydrogen is from ammonia, and the most plentiful supply of ammonia on the planet is from mammal urine.
Oh my God!
Human, dog, cat, rat,
especially
goat,
cats.
Doesn't matter.
Hey, hang on. You know what that means, right?
Go ahead.
That means the crazy cat ladies have an unlimited supply of fuel.
Well, potentially, yes. Yeah.
They might be onto something here.
They might be.
That might be a way for them to fund their retirement.
They're hoarding all the fuel.
I'm sorry, that was a terrible joke. I should really be ashamed of myself.
It was a slow pitch down the center. So
that series, by the way, the Alan Alda series, it was called Scientific America. Scientific America Hydrogen Hopes.
What year was that produced?
It was probably, I'm guessing, 2007, 2008. No, actually, wait, no, I was already divorced when I saw it, so I was already living here. So it was 2006 or later.
No wonder I missed it. I used to watch PBS all the time because, unlike a lot of people in my age bracket, I couldn't care less about sports. And I used to watch PBS documentaries and all sorts of things of that nature. And back in high school, I used to live on PBS during summer vacations. And if it had been on when I was on summer breaks, I probably would have seen it. But that would have been the time I was in Fort Hood getting ready to go to Iraq.
Oh, were you deployed?
Yeah, 07 to 09.
Oh, wow.
15
sorry,
month
brother.
deployment.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So let's get back on track because apparently, I don't know how, but we pissed off Wesley. I don't know.
Who's Wesley?
Wesley, he's the truck commander, apparently. But somehow we pissed him off, and apparently we could take it up our asses and wake the fuck up. I don't know how we got into fuel and how we pissed Wesley off, but we're going to take a turn, and hopefully Wesley hasn't left, and he'll calm down. But we'll wrap it up here in a few minutes. But I wanted to get back on topic as far as where do you think we're going as far as where we're at with the country? Do you believe that the theory presented at the beginning of the show holds any water? Do you think we're close, far? Where do you think we're at with that kind of stuff? Let's start with, we'll just go around. We'll do the round robin. We'll start with Outlaw. We'll go around the room.
I guess it would depend on which subjects in particular we're talking about, birth rates or jobs, things of that nature. Personally, and I hate to sound black pill, but I personally don't see this country recovering from what's happened. I see this country collapsing, but that's just my opinion. And I hope that I'm wrong. But if you want to talk about racism, you want to talk about birth rates, reversing feminism, you've got to start with the generations now whose minds are still blank slates and get them as far away from this nonsense as you possibly can.
Well, see, what worries me is and all of you guys lived through it too with 9/11. When 9/11 happened, right, there was that coming together, right? And in the video that was shown, there was a coming together towards a common foe. I'm not sure if I feel that the country would come together like that again. Do you guys feel I'm right on that?
Maybe in a BRICS v NATO conflict.
It can happen again. Go ahead, Mando.
Do you mind if I put on my Jimmy Bones tinfoil hat for just a moment?
Sure.
I think it's going to take something akin to a alien invasion hoax or a major false flag to get this country to come back together in any way, shape, or form. We have been divided by design, in my opinion, quite thoroughly. I've made no secret on any of the streams that we've collabed on about my military status. And I've said this before. As a believer, I don't feel it's right for me to try to leave what I see coming with this country, because I see God about to drop the mother of all hammers on the United States. And frankly, in my opinion, we deserve it. We as a society have allowed this to happen.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to, take there's a lot of God talk tonight in that chat. Maybe this, for the road that we've been taking, maybe we need a little bit of a punishment.
Yeah.
A bit of a smiting.
Maybe.
But it's going to take something. I'm gonna go so far as to say it's going to take something like an Independence Day type event to get people in this country to unite behind something again. Name one politician that is prevalent in this country that everyone can actually get behind right now.
There isn't one.
There isn't one. There isn't one.
Name one business leader everyone can get behind right now.
There isn't one.
No.
No.
Yeah.
The
Name-
closest might be Musk, but he's a bit
Well,
divisive on certain things.
He's drove. The left won't embrace
He's
him.
one of them.
Yeah,
Na-
but they don't think he is.
Yep.
Name one non-celebrity, e.g., non-pop star, non-movie star, that everyone could get behind right now in this country without there being a major event.
Mhm.
It's just
There isn't
nobody. Nobody.
Exactly. This country has ripped itself apart so thoroughly that I don't think that there's really a chance to fix it. And I hate to say that because I spent 20 years of my life defending this country.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jerry, but strangely enough, in biblical prophecy, America is not mentioned anywhere.
No, we're not. But I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent and take because I could fill an hour with this. But I'll just say this: there are Joseph. When Joseph was the one whose brothers sold him into slavery in Egypt. Joseph had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and those two sons, one got the bigger blessing, one got the lesser blessing. And I am of the school that believes that Ephraim and Manasseh are Great Britain and the United States. So Ephraim is Great Britain. Manasseh is the United States. Manasseh got the better blessing. The United States, we control the Panama Canal. We can control the state of Gibraltar, the Strait of Gibraltar. We controlled the Suez Canal. We controlled all the waterways that were all the promises that were given to Abraham in Genesis. But it was because we have not kept the commandments of the Almighty. We haven't kept His Torah, and now, I mean, God, it's been bad for a long time. But I mean, just look around what's going on today. I won't even talk about who's reading stories to children, preschool children. I won't even talk about that or any of the other stuff. But the Almighty fulfilled His promise because He gave all those blessings to the descendants of Abraham, who are Ephraim, who is the United States. But because we didn't keep His commandments, all those blessings were taken away. Who owns the Panama Canal now? China. China. What doesn't China own? So it's
Jerry, one of these days I might have to do a stream with you because you and I could probably have a good discussion on this.
I put it in our chat now on the stream chat specifically. I put my YouTube page in there, my contact information, all that is on my YouTube page. So please, all you guys in the stream, in the chat, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. But that has my contact information is all on there. So reach out to me. You can reach me by phone. You can reach me by email. You can reach me through my website. Please do. But
yeah, let me get my notepad out real quick, and I will copy paste that data.
Okay, it's gerryconway.com. If you just go to Jerry, that's Jerry with a G, gerryconway.com. You can reach me directly there. All my contact info is on my webpage. But to answer your question, the United States is not mentioned in the Bible. It actually is because we are part of Israel. People think Israel, and that's Jewish people. No, it's not. There were 12 tribes. Judah was only one tribe. There's 11 other tribes. And we still, all those tribes still exist, but all those other tribes have just lost their identity. They lost their identity after Solomon's son, Rehoboam, turned into a total douchebag and raised the taxes beyond belief. So people said, well, screw you, we're breaking away. That was the first split. Like the United States, the North and the South split in the Civil War. The same thing happened in Israel. It was the kingdom of Judah to the south and Israel to the north. Before Solomon died, it was all one nation. But because his son, after Solomon died, Rehoboam was such a douchebag and raised the taxes, the people just split away. Like, go screw you. We're not gonna pay all your taxes. We're gonna make our own country. Anyway, there's a lot to it. Like I said, I could fill up an hour. I digress. I'm done. Thank you.
I was about to say, reminds me of the pattern of those in generational wealth have a bad habit of destroying that wealth by the end of the third generation.
Well, the third generation didn't earn it usually, right? They just inherited it.
But some of the second generation do nothing to earn it as well and just splurge.
Well, yeah, but the second generation's usually more tied to the first, so they have a sense of responsibility usually because they know the people that created it, whereas the third don't have any tie to it. So.
Or they witnessed how it became created, so they have that appreciation.
Sure, yeah. How about you, Nate? What do you feel about things? You've been quiet.
I'm just sitting here listening and observing. It's been kind of a crazy night for me, so I caught a little bit of it here and there, trying to put out some fires with situations with people I know here. Well, the last time I saw this nation as divided as it is now was January of 2000. Same thing. Nobody trusted anybody. Everybody was at each other's throats. And it took something like September 11th to bring everybody back together again. And I remember September 12th. I remember what that was like. I have horrible memories of the 11th. There's things I'll still never get out of my brain about that. But I wholeheartedly wish and hope that one day we can have another September 12th. Unfortunately, in order for us to have that, we will have to experience another September 11th level event to bring upon the 12th. And I do not want to experience another 11th just to have a 12th.
Right.
Because that is a major loss of life and a major disaster for a lot of people. And that's something that, as much as I would want another 12th, I don't think this nation or the current generation would be able to endure another 11th. But I have been wrong before.
Yeah.
And I'm wrong more times than I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and also what concerns me is what may exactly transpire on that 11th, and where. I mean, there's things going on right now, as mentioned on the chat at one point about just the border being just wide open. I saw a video, and people are on like trains just heading their way here. I mean, just think of the things coming through that fucking border right now. That's really concerning.
That's another point of when you have a quote unquote plandemic. Don't you think the last thing you want to do is to allow complete strangers in your country that could be diseased with the unmentionable?
Yeah. Yeah, right? Like it's just to me, okay, so there was a Paul Joseph Watson video the other day about what's going on in Italy, that island that literally doubled its population in one day. Because they got swamped with African boat migrants coming over, literally just boats and boats and boats, and they doubled their population. And it was found, it was found that the Russians were behind that. They were getting the word into Africa to go raid Italy. And all got on boats. And so
Billy?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure both Crusader and Gerry can attest to this. Just because the Soviet Union fell and the official KGB got disbanded doesn't mean that they don't have as effective of a disinformation, misinformation, counterintelligence agency today that they did back in the 80s.
KGB founded Google, dude. Google that everyone uses. Google, Gmail, all that stuff. YouTube, owned by Google. all done by the KGB. Think about that for a minute.
But where I was actually trying to go with that was if there's questions about how the Russians are implanting ideas into disparate nations, all you have to do is follow the money trails and follow, actually, even in the case of Africa and South America, follow the weapons trails. Because the same corridors that are getting all these nice party bang bangs into places that shouldn't be getting them is the same information or same trails that can be used to get information in and out of those countries.
Yeah.
We've all seen those spy movies where some random terrorist leader or some random tin pot dictator has access to stuff that would make the modern U.S. military go, "Wow, I want that." How much of that is fiction and how much of that is actually based on real life events without them saying it's based on real life events?
We heard your country was working on similar lines, and we were afraid of a doomsday gap. If anybody saw Dr. Strangelove, talking about the doomsday machine and Dr. Strangelove.
Oh yeah,
it's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah,
that was the U.S.'s foreign policy during the Cold War, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's been our foreign policy for as long as I've been on this planet. Even after the Cold War officially ended, we've still been going around sticking our fingers in places where they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
The Monroe Doctrine, where we're supposed to police force the world. What a joke. Throw it out. Stay home. Stay home. Yes. That's what that was in George Washington's farewell address when he left the office of the President of the United States. Do not get involved in foreign affairs.
Okay, hey, I just want to ask one question, then I'm going to shut up and let you do your outro, Billy, because I think that's what you're trying to do. Gerry, did you ever watch Babylon 5?
No, never saw it, no.
Okay. Back in the 90s, when that show was created, the United States, we had enough technology and enough manufacturing capacity before a certain president who liked to get his rocks off in the Oval Office started playing games where we could have pulled everything back to within our borders and sealed this country off with very limited exceptions. We could have become like the Vorlons from that TV series, where people come in, they're allowed to leave, but not without being checked over to make sure they don't have any of the good stuff. Now, we couldn't do that because all of our stuff has been given away to places, specifically places that like to specialize in cashew kitty. And we do not have technological parity or supremacy anymore with a lot of these countries. Sorry, that's one of the things. That's one thing that gets me spun up.
Well, with that, we'll do just a quick round robin final thoughts, a la Red Pill Rhino. And if you want to go check out his show Friday nights, sometimes he does Wednesdays. I think we're kind of switching off here. Like he'll do one Wednesday, I'll do the other Wednesday. Hopefully that works. I don't know. I don't know if he's doing every Wednesday. I'm not sure, but I figured I'd jump in here and get my Wednesday in. Go check him out at the website that I own. That's redpillrhino.com, owned by Billy Von Baum. And check him out. You know, buy a beer koozie. That I noticed Jimmy didn't show up tonight. I think he's still traumatized from the last time we had an after party.
He was also on with Pop too. So
yeah. Well, I kind of torture him and Outlaw as well when the after parties.
Who doesn't?
Yes.
Oh my goodness!
I love during April. She's quite the little torture monkey.
Yes, she is.
If you don't know, you're not in the Gilded Red Pill Rhino Gilded. So you might want to go check that out. Go.
You're probably better off not knowing. I do know, and I'm still upset about how easily you got me to lose control with that character.
I heard she has the hots for Rhino.
Maybe. I don't know. There's a whole kind of playful thing going.
Oh god.
All right, so we'll go around the room and I'll take you out one at a time. And I don't think we're going to have a big after party, but if you guys want to stay around. So we'll start with you, Outlaw.
Yeah, I pretty much said everything I'm going to say. I'll leave it at that, short and sweet. Give these guys some room to talk.
Okay, I'll see you in the back room. Well, I'll end with you, Gerry. So I'll go to Nate.
All right. Well, with all the bleak news and everything going on in the world, everybody's looking at the world as the glass is half full. Well, I want to challenge your thinking on that. The glass isn't half full or the glass isn't half empty. Look at it this way. Be happy you have a glass. Change your perspective.
Nice. And with that,
think on that one. I'm done.
I'll put you in the back room. Sean, what do you got?
So I think I'll repeat what I said the other day when you suggested this video to us. The turning events seem to have a very consistent schedule and a very consistent pattern where the U.S. anyways, when the smoke is cleared, we come out stronger. But there's a first time for everything, which means it could not turn out that way. Or the turning schedule may be changed or we won't have one. But that's very hopeful. I think we're still on course probably by 2030 to have something significantly terrible happen. That's going to be maybe not something as bad as the Dark Ages, but maybe a modern day equivalent.
And with that, I will see you in the back. Mando, what do you got?
Well, unfortunately, I am going to be a little bit of a doom pillar here.
Boy.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
But I'm just going to relay a quote that I believe came from either Einstein or Oppenheimer. I know not what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and spears.
And with that, I thank you for coming, and I'll put you in the back room. And Gerry, we'll finish you up. I'd like to thank you for coming, and everybody go check out.
Heavy.
No worries. Go check out GerryConway.com. And what are your
GerryConway.com?
Wonderful. And what are your final thoughts on subjects?
Well, my final thoughts are this: this world is passing away. So as far as getting I know you never got around to me for my question: Will this country ever be united? No, I don't believe it will. We were for a while after September 11th, which was planned anyway. But this world, this entire world, everything you know, everything you see, everything you own, everything is gonna burn up. Everything's gonna burn up. So I'm going to quote the Messiah: do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So there's more to this existence than this mere mortal walking around in a meat suit with an air addiction. There's more to this existence. So I'm not going to get preachy, but I'm just saying there is more to it. If you want to think that this all there is to it, then hey, good. That's all there is to it. But there is more to it. And the point is you only get one chance to get it right. So get it right while you have a chance.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And again, thank you for coming. Thanks for ending it on a bit of an uplift. It's not all doom and gloom, right? I believe there's something after this too. So
Yeshua died for you. Yeshua is risen. Yeshua is coming back, and Yeshua loves you very much.
thank you, Gerry. And
Hallelujah.
I'll put you in the back if you want to hang out for a little bit. And,
Thanks, brother. Peace
Oh.
and long life, and peace and long life to everybody. All right. Yeshua loves you all.
All right. Take care. I'll see you back there. All right. Oops. I cut him off just a little tiny bit. So thank you everybody for coming. My opinion on things is I think we're a lot closer to things popping off than 2030 personally. If you go by the way that thing was outlined out of these turnings, I think things are going to pop off within a year. That's what I feel. Either it's going to be bringing back stupid lockups or the election or maybe even gas prices and food prices and the housing collapse, which we're almost really close to that happening. And it's already starting, by the way. I think within a year, we're going to see that, those moments. So look for them so you know what to look for to prepare yourself for what could be coming next. And I'm sorry not to leave you on an uplift like Gerry did, but look, rack up, pack up, stack up, just like Pop says, and keep your faith. And, every day above dirt is better than the worst day below, right? So keep your heads up, keep looking at the sun, keep reaching for the stars. Isn't that what Casey Kasem used to say? Keep on reaching for the stars. And with that, I'm going to leave you with my bombing session. Why not? I mean, this stream kind of goes with it, doesn't it? Let's find it. Where is it? Where is my bombing explosion? Here it is. I'll leave you with this, guys. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Take care, guys. Go.
See here.